Hi, good morning. This is Ramesh Kumar Lalkota, Assistant Professor of Botany, MVS Government Arts and Science College, Mahabubnagar. Today, we are going to discuss mineral nutrition in plants. So, you all know that plants take up mineral elements in the form of inorganic ions dissolved in soil solution. There are 92 naturally occurring elements, but all of those elements are not utilized by the plants. Only 60 elements are found in plants, and most of them are soil elements, and they are not readily soluble in water. Okay, out of which carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen are the most abundant elements present in the plant on weight basis. The chemical composition of the plant is determined by ash analysis. So, after doing the ash analysis, it was found that nearly 16 mineral elements are considered as essential elements. And the list of essential elements has been built up over many years and perhaps even now not complete. But as in now, the current list of essential elements for flowering plants stands at 17 to 20. Okay, so how to determine whether these elements are essential or non-essential elements? Let us see. The essential elements are classified as macronutrients and micronutrients based on the requirement in concentrations. If they are required in larger concentrations, that is over 1000 microgram per gram of dry weight, then they are considered as macronutrients. While if their requirement is 100 microgram per gram, from 1 to 100 microgram per gram of dry matter, then they are considered as uh, micronutrients. Okay, so the criteria of essentiality, how we can determine that these elements are essential, and how we can determine how these are not essential. Let us see. Plants contain about 60 elements. How to determine? In what way we are determining that plants contain about 60 elements? By doing ash analysis of different plants. Altogether of 60 elements are found in plants. However, only about 16 elements are necessary for the growth of the plant, and the remaining elements are taken up because they happen to be present in the soil solution. Okay, in order to be certain that the elements are truly essential, Ornon and Stout in 1939 proposed the criteria of essentiality. The three requirements are: the element must be essential for normal growth and reproduction. That is, in the absence of the particular element, the plants do not complete their life cycle. And the second one is, the element cannot be substituted by another element. That is, um, a carbon cannot be substituted by nitrogen, or phosphorus cannot be substituted by magnesium. Likewise, not a single element can be substituted by any other element. That is, its requirement is very much essential. Okay, then the third one, the element must be directly involved in the metabolism of the plant. So if uh, the element fulfills these criteria of essentiality, then they are considered as essential elements. Then, by applying the above criteria, it is established that 16 elements are essential for plants. The essential elements are classified as macro elements and micro elements. Already discussed that macro elements are required in larger quantities, that is more than 1000 or more than 1000 microgram per gram of dry weight. Then micronutrients, these are required uh, from 1 to 100 microgram per gram of dry weight. Okay, so what are the macro elements and how many are there? A total of 9 macro elements and 7 micro elements are identified. Okay, let us see what are macro elements. Carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, calcium, magnesium, and sulfur are the macro elements. And the micro elements iron, manganese, zinc, boron, copper, molybdenum, and chlorine are the micro elements. Okay, so before going deep into the uh, topic, let us first know what are the symptoms of a nutritional deficiency. If that means if the plant lack any of these essential elements, then what's going to happen? What are the deficiency symptoms that are going to appear in the plants? Okay, so these are some of the deficiency symptoms. The first one is chlorosis. What is chlorosis? A pale green or yellow color develops due to failure of leaves to produce normal amount of chlorophyll. Okay, that means slowly the chlorophyll vanishes. Okay, and pale green or yellow color develops. The next one is necrosis. Necrosis is nothing but death of localized tissues such as leaf tips or margins, or formation of dry spots over the leaves. Okay, then stunted growth. Stunted growth means dwarf plants, they do not show the required growth. Okay, then mottling of leaves, malformation of new leaves, and curling of leaves, and premature drying and withering of leaves, premature fall of leaves, flowers, and fruits. All these are general deficiency symptoms of the elements if they lack. Okay, then generally these symptoms are first noticed in older leaves than in younger leaves, but in potassium, nitrogen, magnesium, the which are mobile elements, their symptoms first appear in older leaves, that is potassium, nitrogen, and magnesium. These are mobile elements, they can move from one place to another place in the plant body. Okay, potassium, nitrogen, and magnesium are the mobile elements. Some elements are immobile and they are not translocated from older to younger leaves, so their deficiency symptoms appear in younger leaves. For example, deficiency of calcium, sulfur, and micronutrients except zinc appear in the younger leaves. Otherwise, potassium, nitrogen, and magnesium, the symptoms appear in the older leaves because they are mobile. But in all other elements except zinc, which are immobile, the the symptoms, the deficiency symptoms appear first in the younger leaves. Okay, so now we will see macro elements one by one, uh, where they are present, and what is their function, and what is the source, and what are the deficiency symptoms. So today in this class we will see the macro elements. Okay, what are macro elements which require in larger quantities, that is above 1000 microgram per gram of dry weight of that plant. Okay, so these macro elements are again divided into structural elements and critical elements. Structural elements are CHO, that is carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. These are called structural elements because they are the integral components of all organic compounds. Without carbon, hydrogen, or oxygen, no organic compound exists. So they are called as structural elements. Okay, and they enter into the composition of practically all organic compounds of the plant. And how they are observed: carbon is nearly about 45% by its dry weight, and it is observed from carbon dioxide, that is through atmosphere. And hydrogen forms a 6% by its dry weight, and it is absorbed from water. Oxygen forms 43% by its dry weight, and it is also absorbed from water, that is through H2O. Okay, so these elements constitute the major part of the dry weight of the plant. These are also known as structural elements because without them, no composition of any organic matter is possible. Then comes critical elements. Why they are called critical elements means they are very much essential for growth and development. And the critical elements are nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium are called as critical elements. Now we will see one by one. Okay. Then first one is nitrogen. So after carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, nitrogen is the fourth abundant element in plants. And what is the source of nitrogen? Nitrogen is abundantly present in atmosphere. Nearly how much percent? 71% of the atmosphere is filled with nitrogen itself. Okay, 78%, and 21% oxygen. No, so this, even though if it is present in 78%, it cannot be absorbed directly. So in what form it is absorbed? It is absorbed in the form of nitrites, nitrates, and ammonium salts. So the source of nitrogen is nitrites, nitrates, and ammonium salts, which are found dissolved in soil. Okay, but some bacteria and blue-green algae can utilize atmospheric nitrogen. And what are the functions of the nitrogen within the plant body? It plays very important role because nitrogen is a component of proteins. Proteins are building blocks. So without proteins, no development, no growth can be imagined. Okay, so it is an important component of proteins, component of amino acids, and nucleic acids, that is DNA and RNA, all the enzymes, because enzymes are nothing but proteins itself, then coenzymes, hormones, and it also is present in the chlorophylls and alkaloids. Okay, so it is very important. Uh, and some vitamins are also contain this nitrogen. What are the deficiency symptoms? Nitrogen deficiency causes yellowing of leaves. Just now we discussed that chlorosis is nothing but yellowing of leaves. So here, yellowing of leaves occurs, and these yellowing starts from older leaves and progresses towards younger leaves. Okay, as just now we discussed that potassium, nitrogen, and magnesium are mobile elements. So these mobile elements, their deficiency syndromes first appear on older leaves and slowly it progresses to the younger leaves. Then anthocyanin pigmentation also develops on the stem, leaf veins, and petioles, which slowly becomes red in color or purple in color. Okay, so you can observe here, see here, these are the anthocyanin pigmentation, and this is yellowing of leaves. Older leaves shows first this symptom. Okay, yellowing of leaves are chlorosis. This is anthocyanin pigmentation. Okay, then delay in flowering and fruits are underdeveloped. These are other deficiency symptoms of nitrogen. Okay, and plants supplied with excess of nitrogen show dark green succulent leaves, weak stems, and a vigorous vegetative growth. This is regarding nitrogen source, functions, and deficiency. The next one is phosphorus. So phosphorus is observed in the form of phosphate ions, and biphosphate ions, H2PO4 minus and HPO4 minus ions. Okay, then what are the functions of a phosphate within the plant body? We will see. It is the constituent uh, constituent of many important organic compounds such as nucleic acids, phospholipids, coenzymes, nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide, nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide phosphate, and the energy rich compound ATP. And the highest percentage of phosphorus occurs in the meristematic cells. What are meristematic cells? The cells which show continuous multiplication and add up new cells to the plant body continuously. Okay. And what are the deficiency symptoms of this phosphorus? The symptoms of phosphorus deficiency are not so marked as in the case of nitrogen deficiency. And the phosphorus deficiency is shown by stunted growth, and leaves become dark green in color, and anthocyanin pigmentation takes place, and these symptoms may be accompanied by necrotic spots on leaves. Necrotic spots means nothing but dead regions. Okay, and these necrotic spots appear on leaves, petioles, and fruits as well. And as a result, immature leaf fall is also observed. Okay, so these are the deficiency symptoms of phosphorus. Source: phosphate ion and biphosphate ions. Functions: component of nucleic acids, phospholipids, coenzymes, NAD, NADP, and ATP. And deficiency symptoms: it shows a stunted growth, the leaves become dark green in color, and anthocyanin pigmentation takes place. You can observe here anthocyanin pigmentation here, and necrosis also is seen in this uh, deficiency. Okay, and petioles and fruits also show necrotic spots, and leaves fall immaturely. The next one is a potassium. Potassium is observed in the form of K plus ions. Okay, then it is 1% of the total dry weight of the plant. It is an exchangeable cation. K plus is a exchangeable cation. And what are the functions? Uh, Plants absorb potassium ions in large amounts, and it has no structural role in plants. That is, it does not enter into the composition of any organic compound, but it is essential for functioning of about 40 enzymes. It acts as an activator. Without potassium, the enzymatic action cannot start. So it acts as an activator for over 40 enzymes. Okay, and it is abundantly present in young parts like birds, root tips, than in the older parts. Hmm. Deficiency uh, of potassium, the deficiency symptoms are: it affects the photosynthesis, respiration, and chlorophyll development. Yellowing of leaves, starting from older leaves to younger leaves also. Okay, one more point here: how it affects the photosynthesis. Okay, you might have learned that potassium K plus ions are very much important for closing and opening of stomata, thereby regulating the entry of carbon dioxide through stomata. So in that way, it affects the photosynthesis. Okay, and chlorophyll development also, it plays an important role. Yellowing of leaves, starting from older leaves to the younger leaves, as they are mobile elements, and the necrotic areas along the margin and tips of the leaves. And retarded growth with weak stems is also observed. See, you can see here yellowing of leaves, starting from older leaves to the younger ones, and then the necrotic spots. See, these are necrotic spots. First appear as yellow spots, then later on they become dry up, and the leaves fall down prematurely. Okay, so these are different symptoms, deficiency symptoms of potassium. Then calcium. Calcium is also one of the important uh, macronutrient. It forms 0.5% of dry weight in plants. Then source of absorption is calcium is absorbed as calcium 2 plus ions, Ca2 plus ions, and it is abundantly present in the soil. Its deficiency is very less, very seldom deficiency is observed in the soil. Okay, so what are the functions? Calcium plays an important role in the synthesis of middle lamellum of cell wall. During cell division, cell wall formation is very important. One cell divides into two. So during that time, cell wall formation, this middle lamellum formation takes place only in the presence of calcium and magnesium pectates. So it plays an important role in synthesis of middle lamellum. Okay, it is also associated with the phospholipids of cell membrane. And it is also necessary for maintenance of permeability of membranes. What is permeability? The membranes do not allow all the molecules through them to pass through them. Only certain uh, which are selectively permeable through the membranes are allowed to pass through the membranes. So this permeability is again based depend on calcium ions. Okay, so it also acts as activator for many of the enzymes such as amylase, ATPase, and phospholipase, and it is also necessary in mitosis. That is, it plays a role in mitosis. Okay, so these are the functions: synthesis of middle lamellum of cell wall, associated with phospholipids of cell membrane, activator of enzymes like amylase, ATPase, and phospholipase, and necessary for permeability of cell membrane, and plays a role in mitosis. And what are the deficiency symptoms? uh, Lack of calcium causes rapid death of growing regions of shoot and root. Death of growth regions of shoot and root, and malformation and chlorosis of young leaves along margins. See, you can see here malformation. The leaf, it loses its actual shape. Okay, so this is malformation. Chlorosis is nothing but yellowing of leaves, and also it shows stunted roots and reduced flowering and fruiting, and hooking of young leaf tips due to distortion. Hook-like structure. The young leaf tips form just the bend and look like a hook. Okay, due to distortion. So these are the deficiency symptoms of calcium. Next, magnesium. And magnesium constitutes 0.2% of the dry weight of the plant. And the source of magnesium is it is observed as Mg2 plus ions, and it is present in the soil. And what are the functions? Magnesium is an important component of chlorophyll. Without magnesium, no chlorophyll formation takes place. Okay, so which ultimately affects the photosynthesis. If no chlorophyll, no photosynthesis. So it is very important. Magnesium plays very important role, and magnesium pectate also is important for formation of the middle lamellum. Just now we discussed that calcium and magnesium pectates are the components of middle lamellum. So during cell division, this middle lamellum formation takes place only in the presence of calcium and magnesium pectates. Okay, and it also plays a very important role while protein synthesis for binding the ribosomal subunits. That is 60s and 40s type of ribosomes. They are uh, they, they bind only in the presence of this magnesium ions. Otherwise, no protein synthesis takes place, and it also acts as activator of enzymes such as nucleic acids, ATP molecules, and carbohydrate metabolism. Okay, so it is an activator of enzymes involving in the synthesis of nucleic acids, ATP molecules, and carbohydrate metabolism also. Okay. Then the deficiency symptoms of this magnesium. First of all, yellowing of leaves develops from the base of the plant to the younger leaves. They are mobile, so their deficiency symptoms appear in the older leaves first. Okay. Interveinal chlorosis and yellowing of leaves. Then anthocyanin pigmentation is also developed, and later on necrotic spots develop during and resulting in death of the leaf. Ultimately, you can see here necrotic spots here. So this is yellowing of leaves. And intervenal chlorosis. Intervenal means in between the veins. Yellowing of leaf in between the veins. This is yellowing of leaves. This is intervenal chlorosis, and this is development of necrotic spots due to deficiency of magnesium. Sulfur deficiency. Sulfur constitutes 0.1% of the total dry weight, and the source of sulfur is sulfate ions present in the soil, and very little from air is also enters into the plant body as sulfur dioxide. Okay, through stomata. And functions. What are the functions of the sulfur? Okay, it is an important constituent of amino acids such as cysteine, cysteine, and methionine. And, it is also found in vitamins like thiamine, biotin, and coenzyme A. And it also present in many enzymes as sulfur hydryl groups. Okay, then plays an important role in root formation and chlorophyll formation and fruit formation and cell division. It also imports pungent smell to onion, garlic, and the members of mustard family. The deficiency symptoms are sulfur deficiency seldom occurs in natural conditions as sulfur is present abundantly in the soil. Okay, so the deficiency is mainly characterized by yellowing of younger leaves, stems become slender, and roots are larger. Stems become slender and roots become larger. Yellowing of younger leaves are the symptoms of sulfur deficiency. So, this is about macronutrients. In our next class, we will see micronutrients, their sources, their functions, and their deficiencies. So what we saw today, we saw about the macro elements. What are macro elements? Which are required by the plants, 1,000 or about 1,000 microgram per gram of dry weight. Okay, so then how many macro elements are there? A total of 9 macro elements. So what are the macro elements? uh, Carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, calcium, magnesium, and sulfur, out of which carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen are called structural elements, because without any of this, that is carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, no organic matter existence is possible. Then nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium are called critical elements because they are very much uh, required for growth and development. Okay, then calcium, magnesium, and sulfur also plays very important role mm, in cell wall formations, that is the middle lamellum formation. Okay, and they also form integral parts of many of the organic compounds, and also uh, they are very important as they act as activators for many of the enzymes too. Okay, so this is all about today's class. Okay, now next class we will see about micronutrients.